when you get into entrepreneurship, it is extremely difficult. There's so many things that you don't know how to do. There's so many losses that you're going to face. There's so many difficulties that you're going to run into. But momentum is the one thing that can help you get past it. And the way that you build up momentum is by doing things that are good for you and that are good for the business. The more momentum that you have, it doesn't make a difference how big the obstacle is. If you try and like run into an obstacle when you're really close and you're just like hitting it over and over again, that's going to be really difficult to break through. Whereas if you're running and an obstacle comes in, you're more likely to like actually get through the obstacle. And I think that that's one of the things that people don't realize. Like, it's easy to like demonstrate that on like on a basic level, but when it comes to practicalities and actually running your business, momentum is something that you should look to build within your business. And I think that really skilled entrepreneurs, when they like hit kind of like a block, when they're not sure about what to do, they keep running into the same obstacles, they know, okay, what they need to do, get some small wins in, get some movement going, get some progress, and then as a result of that, the momentum's going to pick up and they're going to be able to get through the obstacle that they're facing. I think that that's one of the main things that's really helped us to grow the business that we've had. And it's something that I want to help you guys to build within this video. And before I give you guys some of the ideas or some of the frameworks that I use to build some momentum, I firstly wanted to give you guys a couple of examples of where it's actually been pivotal for us in the business. So one of the key things that we had when we started is that last year we actually ended up working with a big client, and we were really happy that we got to work with them. This was a couple of months after me coming out of university, and I didn't have a stable income. I didn't have like I didn't have a job, nothing. It was just like me working on the business full time. And what was happening is that I was just picking up as many jobs as I could at any price, right? At any price at all. It doesn't make a difference what job it was. I was like, okay, like obviously business related. I was like, okay, whatever I can do, whatever I can get paid for, I'm going to do. And we ended up doing that. So I was doing coaching with some people, I was doing talks with others, I was doing consulting for others, and we ended up getting this new client in. And the thing that gave me the courage to sign this new client, that was a high ticket deal, right? It was a decent amount of money, it was a few grand. And I'd never really dealt with a deal at that size before. But what helped me to confidently say a high price and get that deal closed was the fact that I had built up momentum of quite a few smaller deals. And one of the things that I think a lot of the time entrepreneurs really struggle with when they get into business is that they have no momentum when they start. They don't get any deals across the line. They don't have any kind of foundation for their business. They don't have any real kind of ideas about what they should be doing. And because of that, they just keep hitting that brick wall, and then they don't actually progress. So when it came to actually getting that deal and securing that deal, that was actually the deal that allowed me to sign my first full-time employee on full-time, right? So that was the deal that got me Adnan on full-time. If I didn't sign that deal, if I didn't close that big client, then Adnan wouldn't have been on. I can't even imagine where the business would be today. So that was a huge deal for me of making sure that I've got this momentum so that I can keep building and growing the business. And since Adnan's been in, momentum's been one of the things that we've tried to like keep building back into the system, building back into the way that we work, because we know that when we have momentum, we're more of a force to be reckoned with, okay? So this is your superpower, right? As an entrepreneur, you need to understand that momentum is such a useful thing for you to have. And as a result, when you have momentum, okay, what does that actually mean? One of the main things that momentum actually means is that you have self-confidence, okay? You believe in yourself, you believe in your abilities. Okay, if you have never signed a high-ticket client before, the momentum that you need to get that high-ticket client across the line is quite high, because you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in the results that you've got. You have to know that you're in a position where you're capable of delivering. Okay, and if you've got no momentum, then your confidence, the way that you hold yourself, is going to reflect that. So over the past 2 weeks, we've had 4 proposals that have just been signed, right? So I'm going into next week with like, mate, we can go and sign more proposals. We know that the things that we're delivering are extremely valuable. We have our clients come back to us like saying how valuable everything's been for us. So we've got that momentum. We've picked that up and we're like, okay, great. Let's get the next one. All right, next one. Even within our community, we've been getting a new person in pretty much every day for the past few days. And it's literally like, okay, great. Next one. People in the community, they've also like sparked up and said, oh wow, this is really cool. It's really interesting to see like how many new people are joining. Like that's the kind of impact that momentum has. And if you're starting off in your journey, one of the things that I recommend that you do is start to build up some momentum. Your momentum is going to change the way that you see the problems that you're facing, and it's going to make you much more likely to actually overcome them. So if you're sitting there thinking, okay, great, I understand you, I get it, I need to have more momentum, I need to build up some momentum, I need to like get things going. You probably have a couple ideas in your mind already about what kind of stuff you could do. But just to make this a little bit easier for you, let me break down what I would do if I was in your situation and I'm in a position where I don't have much momentum. One of the first things that I think is so critical is getting down some non-negotiables. And when I say non-negotiables, these are things that you do absolutely no matter what, right? Like, it doesn't make a difference if you're ill, it doesn't make a difference if you're tired, it doesn't make a difference if it's your birthday. Like, whatever happens, you get these things done, right? And when you have some non-negotiables, that instills a little bit of self-confidence into you. Like, I'm moving the needle. I'm doing something that takes me towards my goals, okay? So having some baseline of non-negotiables, this is what I do day in, day out. This, like, I am capable of doing this, right? That picks up your momentum. It adds a little bit. Okay, and then the next thing that I would do, once you've got some kind of like base level non-negotiables, like maybe it's just going for a walk every day, okay? Maybe it's doing outreach to 5 people a day. I don't care what it is. You do something that is helping you to move the business forward. That's helping you to move towards your goals. That is a baseline, okay? So that's like level 1, let's call it. So level 1 is getting your non-negotiables in order. Level 2 is access the low-hanging fruit, okay? So it's the things that are the quick wins, the things that you know are going to build something up, the things that you know are going to help you out, okay? So for example, there might be some admin tasks that you've been putting off that, you know, if you got them done, it would be really helpful for you. You'd have a more clear headspace. Get those low-hanging fruits up. Like, just do it. Just do the tasks. Schedule the time, carve out a couple hours, get the things done that you know that are holding you back, that you know, like, you just need to do. I have one client in the community who was like, oh, you know what it is, I need to go over to these garages and I need to like speak to them and say like, look, this is what I need to do. Okay, this is what I'm struggling with. Like, can you promote my business, right? And he just wasn't doing it, and he's putting it off. And he said it's not making him feel good because he knows he should have done it, but he just hasn't done it. If he just goes out and does that, the whole day his mood's going to be different. If he's hopping on sales calls, his mood is different, right? If he's grown the business, like that low-hanging fruit, that second level, it's such an easy way to flip the narrative in your mind of today was unproductive to today was productive, okay? And when you flip that narrative, you feel differently about yourself, you feel differently about the business, and then your energy going into everything else that you do is also different, okay? So that kind of second layer of the low-hanging fruit is so important. So baseline, get your non-negotiables in order. Then second level is get that low-hanging fruit across the line. Then the third layer, the next kind of top, like the top of the pyramid, right? Or the next thing that I think is really important to do is doing the really difficult stuff, right? Doing the things that are actually like hard to do, but you know you should do them, okay? Having those difficult conversations, right? Like those things that are on a deeper level. So for example, let me just think. If you're maybe neglecting your finances, right? That's not low-hanging fruit because it's quite difficult to do. Maybe you're not sure about how you'd approach it. Maybe you feel a little bit embarrassed about the financial position that you're in. Go on and do the difficult stuff. Again, it's going to flip that narrative and it's going to build up more momentum because you'll have more pride over yourself because you can say to yourself, I'm doing the difficult things as well, right? Imagine if you're sitting there with no momentum at the moment, right? You don't really feel like you're getting anywhere. And over the next week, you now start to do your non-negotiables, you take the low-hanging fruit, and you do the difficult things. The kind of person that you would be after doing these 3 things is completely different to who you are now. And that shift in energy, that shift in mindset is going to be one of the biggest keys to your success. Okay? There's one quote that I heard very recently, and I think it's so relevant for entrepreneurs to know this, is that I think it was the founder of NVIDIA, right? And he was saying that if he had to do it all again, he wouldn't. He wouldn't do it all again. And the reason why is because he realized, like when you go into entrepreneurship, right, you don't know how difficult it is. And you keep asking yourself the question, how challenging could it be? How difficult could it be? And because you're optimistic, because you're open-minded, because you're moving in a certain direction, you're like, okay, I'm sure I'll be able to figure it out. I'm sure I'll be able to figure it out. Years go by and you're still saying the same thing. I'm sure I'll figure it out. I'm sure I'll figure it out. He said that from the position that he's in after building the company, looking back, he said, okay, look, I know how difficult it is and now I wouldn't want to actually go and do that again, right? That's the difference. Like when you're looking up and you're looking into your journey, you need to be optimistic. That is the power that you have as an entrepreneur. Even if at the end, you're not thinking, oh yeah, that was definitely 100% worth it and I would love to do that again. it's the optimism that allows you to stretch, that allows you to hope, that allows you to have good energy when you go into your days, when you go into your weeks. Okay, so that's the kind of difference. Like, that's one of the key things that I hope you take from this. Of, you want to make sure that you have good momentum. The more momentum you have, like, the more positive you feel about your work, it's going to make such a difference in terms of how you actually approach everything and the results that you get. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next episode of the IWIN series.